There is power behind every story we carry within. Every tragedy, no, yes, laugh, victory. And every testimony that is incubated within our souls have power. The power to transform, from tragedy to crown, from obstacle to opportunity, and all the moments in between make us wiser. Watch Candid Conversations with Charisa for impactful, unheard moments that will certainly spark your power and inner truth to shift, heal, and restore your life. It's time to get real, uncover, unlock, unpack, set free, and increase the dialogue to change a life. We all start somewhere and end in places of destiny. Get ready for the long-awaited Candid Conversations with Charisa.
Hi, it's Charissa Monroe Wilborn, and I want to welcome you back to Candid Conversations Season 4. Yes, we are rocking, we are rolling, and it is getting better and better and better. If you are here, you've either been following my channel on YouTube, you've been subscribing, and if you haven't, now you want to subscribe, now is the time. Make sure you share, make sure you like, and make sure you comment. I love reading your comments. They are so encouraging and so supportive. So keep following for the next 8 weeks. We'll be here just having open and candid conversations about life. Stay tuned. You mean why I keep talking about self, huh? It's funny you ask that because a lot of people, even from last season when I talk about putting me first and putting yourself first and loving of self. And then they think about leadership and they think, well, leadership is supposed to be, it's about people, but you are very much correct. It's about developing people, well, you are very much correct. However, it's very difficult to do that when you haven't liked and loved and trusted yourself first. You haven't become aware of who you are. And so though leadership it's all about people, it starts with self. And not only starting with self-love or trusting and forgiving yourself, but it actually starts with self-awareness. And self-awareness is one of those people overlook it, but it's such an invaluable character trait of a great leader when they can be self-aware of who they are and where they are. And one of the things I want to focus on is just being self-aware of your presence. How you show up for yourself, first of all, how you show up for other people, how you show up in the front of a crowd, how you show up at work. And not only how you show up physically, like on the outside, but there is this, how you show up mentally. What's your energy like? Because when you are leading, when you are influencing, like a lot of what you do, people are going to mimic, people are going to mirror, people are going to watch, and they're going to be changed by, because I can say one thing 5 different ways and I'm going to get a different response or I'm going to get a different reaction from the people, but it's all about being aware of where I'm at. So I can give you a prime example. I had to take an exam a couple of days ago, and it just happened to be on the exact same day of my dad's birthday. Now, leading up to this exam leading up to my dad's birthday, I thought I would be fine, because over the last couple of years, on that day, I've been okay. I've been able to just kind of enjoy it and still celebrate him, just keep memories up front, but still celebrate him and laugh and have fun. And so I knew I had an exam that day. It was his birthday. I had another presentation to do, and the day came and I was not so good. I really was not so good. But I was going to make myself do all these things that I had planned because I had planned and because they were on my to-do list and I had to check them off. And it took someone telling me, even as leaders, we have to be self-aware of where we are emotionally, mentally, physically. We have to be self-aware of the adjustments and the changes that we can make as leaders, needing no permission. Because I almost felt as though, well, I can't say no. I can't back out of my exam. I can't back out of from my students. So I need to do this. Mind you, I'm a mess. I'm a mess, just crying mentally. I'm all over the place. There's so many other things going on in life. I was not in any proper mental state, to be taking no exam and to do excellent. And I could take the exam, mind you. I'll fail all day long, but I could take it. And so I had to become self-aware of showing up to taking this exam, to showing up to my students who I would have had to teach to. And even though I would have tried and fake it, I would have, you fake it till you make it. As leaders, we do it all the time. I could try that, but someone would have been able to say, she's off. And you don't ever want to put yourself in a position where people have to see what you're trying to hide when you don't try to hide. And so as a leader, as someone who knows what I'm supposed to be doing, who knows my purpose very well, who is so in tune with myself, I was able to say, you know what? I don't have to hide the fact that today I'm not doing well. I was able to say, today I'm not doing well. And someone said to me, don't worry, we can do it some other time. Take care of you. When I say the amount of pressure and burden that was lifted off of my entire life that day, I will never forget that. And then they said to me, you can make whatever adjustments you need to make to take care of you. And then they said, you have options. And I didn't think I had options. I didn't think, as far as I'm concerned, if I didn't teach this class, no one else would. If I don't take the exam, there is no option of taking it again, because they already said you can't remake it. So all of my options that I thought would be options were no longer there. And they said, no, you actually have options. And so I was able to put my options into use. And literally I watched myself elevate from one moment to the next in what appeared to be a everlasting moment of crisis, because I allowed myself to be aware of my presence, of where I was. I allowed myself to accept the idea that you don't have to be okay. You have nothing to hide. Man, I was hiding, and I was going to hide it all day long, but I didn't. And so as leaders, the greatest thing I could have done for myself and my students is to be self-aware of where I was, of my presence, and showing up and realizing that even though I was a greater leader for my students, and I will be a greater leader for the audience and the market that I'm preparing myself for, because I'm aware of where I was, because I was able to step back and say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do it all today. Let me change. And so I get to develop myself so that I can develop them. I get to start governing me so that it can be all about them, because it is all about them. Man, you just said the title to a whole lesson I have in a program that I'm building called Push Through. And I love it. I love it. How do you push through? Because there are times when, so the other side to that we do a lot is pivoting. So what I did was I pivoted. I was going in one direction and too many things was coming at me then. So I said, okay, I got to stop and I got to change direction. So I did that. But you are correct. There are times when, as leaders, as humans, pivoting is not the best option, or it's not an option. And sometimes you do have to push through. And I mean, you have to push through the crowd. You have to push through the pain. You have to push through the torture. You have to push through the anger, the hurt, the tears. You have to do it while crying. I was literally willing. So that was me. I was at a fork in the road that day. And I was going to push through the exam. I was going to push through and do and teach the class I had to teach later on that day. I was going to do it, and I was going to do it all the tears. I was going to do it crying. I was going to do it angry. I was going to do it hurt. I was going to do that. But I had the option of making the change. And the times when we realized that, and I'll give a little secret sauce here. One of the things I realized about pushing through is, I'm going to give the first one. Sometimes purpose is one of those things that allow you, or that puts you in a place where discipline is so important. And so when you go back to the why am I doing this? Why do I have to do this? It makes pushing through a little easier. It makes pushing through the better option, because sometimes pivoting is not. Sometimes the only way that I can get, and the only thing I can always think about when it comes to pushing through is football. Like, and I used to ask my husband all the time, why would the quarterback, is it the quarterback, get the ball, or is it running back? I think it's one of those. They would get the ball and then they would run through what I'm going to call the smallest hole in a line of a bunch of men. Why would they run through there versus, run on the outside where there's more space? And, but I wasn't looking at the other players that were there creating this hole for him to run through. But it was the only way, sometimes the only way that you're able to get from 1 yard to the next. Like, you have to get yardage by running and by pushing and by running and by pushing. And so you get 10 yards and then 20 yards. And then next thing you know, you would have pushed so much that you've made it to the goal. And then you would have realized, man, had I not pushed, had I just stood still, I would not have made it here. And purpose is, I have a goal. I have a goal. I have a goal. I have a goal. That's my why. That's my why. That's my touchdown. That's my touchdown. So in order to get to there, and I all the way here, I gotta eat. I gotta keep pushing through. And so they just keep pushing, and they push, and then they push and they push. So they push their way through, but then they also push away other players and push away other things in life. And like, you think about pushing through all these things just to get to the goal. Purpose being the reason why sometimes you have to push. And then in the program, I talk more about the U and the S and the H in that. But I thought it was a really, really good question because I was so prepared to push that day. And I was advised to just pivot. And then sometimes pivoting is a better option. And for me, pivoting was the perfect option that day because my purpose never changed. I still have to take an exam, and I was able to get someone else to teach my class. And so the students didn't lose out. Because at the end of the day, it really is about everybody else, how I show up. But I have to be self-aware. And I have to realize that I have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, nothing to defend, and nothing to protect.